of the chalice. The words are in your order of service.
At this hour, as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs, we light this beacon of hope, sign our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Join me in the singing Royaya in the Teal book. It's number 1020.
everybody doing? Good. Hey. I'm from Naples, New York. It's a beautiful place. I want to talk today about goals, goal setting.
which is really unfamiliar to me, something I had to learn. I was never taught this stuff. The theme for the summer has been cultivation. You can't cultivate anything unless you can see the end in mind. You can't hit a target you can't see. So, and by the way, I was never ever taught any of this. I wish I was. I started in the beginning of my life just to survive a day. I'm still alive today. Yay! Okay, that was a wonderful thing. But goal setting wasn't a part of it. And I was actually brought kicking and screaming into this whole thing. I think the beginning was about 9 years ago. We were with a couple in Massachusetts, and it was like a group setting, and it was a gathering, but it was more like a seminar type of thing. And one of the things we were required to do was to write down 10 1- to 5-year goals. And I had never written down a goal before ever, and we did. It was hard for me to do because a lot of times you don't know what we want. So I thought about it, and we wrote it down, and it was very private, and we used to write down these small pieces of paper, and we put it in this little Tupperware dish. And then we had other activities we did, and we forgot about it, and you brought all this stuff home with you at the end of the time. And so we were renting at the time, my wife and I, and I loved renting. We're both on our second marriage, okay, and so we had been there and done that. We had raised kids, did the house thing. And I loved renting because I swear, I'm not making this up. Was a light bulb up, I would call the landlord. I'm not making this up. It was awesome. Because we had stuff to do, and I didn't want to have to deal with any of this stuff again. So my wife and I, we thought about, the pillow talk, someday if we ever bought a house, what would it be like? Oh, someday if we ever did get a house. It would have to be purple, because purple's my favorite color. We'd have to have a purple. And we'd have to have 5 acres, because I don't want to see any of my neighbors. And it would have to have a pond, because I like ponds and fish. And it would have to have a man cave, so I can get away type of thing. And we would describe this perfect house over and over again, right? So it was about 4 years ago. We're renting and in Naples. And I had to buy shoelaces. I had never purchased shoelaces in my entire life. So we had to go buy shoelaces down to Sutton Spoons in Naples. And as we were leaving there, we go by the realty place, and there's a picture of a purple house. Honey, let's go look at the purple house. Baby, we're renting. We don't want to buy a house. What are you talking about? No. Let's just go look. It's a beautiful day. I don't know where French Hill Road is. Well, we'll find it. It's a wonderful thing. So, fine, let's go. We drive up. We find this place. It's a purple house. And we pull in, nobody's living there. It's just an empty rental. And it's like the universe is messing with our heads. I swear, it's everything we've talked about. Everything. So she gets out of the car, I get out of the car, we go our separate ways. 10 minutes later, she goes, what do you think? We're going to buy a house. This would be the one, I guess, Well, we're not going to buy a house. Or, we should look at the inside. Maybe we're both leaving tomorrow. We can call a realtor. They'll be down on Sunday morning. They're not going to come down on Sunday morning. Yeah, they do. They want to make money. They want to come down on Sunday morning. So they did. And so, long story short, I'm living in a purple house. and it's awesome. And it really is. We love it. But it got me thinking about just the power of intention. We were with Dr. Wayne Dyer over the winter, and we went on a cruise. We talked about the power of intention. Just the words coming out of our heads made it happen. It's like goal setting on a different level. It was just amazing. So as we're going to the unpacking process of moving into our new house, we're trying to downsize. You know how that is, right? So we're trying to downsize. And so my wife comes out with these little Tupperware boxes, right? Dave, you remember these? No, I don't. Dan, don't you remember we were at Gail's house, we did the goal setting thing, and I didn't remember. But I said, oh yeah, I remember. Sometimes it's easier to do that, just to say you remember. But as we opened up these Tupperware boxes, oh, that came true, that came true, that came true. 15, 20 came true. I never looked at them before that. Never gave them a second thought. But because we wrote them down, they came true. And I think it's just amazing to me how this whole thing works. So the funny thing is, about 6 or 7 months ago, I speak for a living, and I do seminars, and they offered me, National Seminars offered me a seminar to brand new. It's about goal setting. You teach what you need to learn. I really believe that. So they said, would you like to do this? I said, sure, I'll do it. frankly, the things they give you to teach are awful. They're substandard, they're awful. So I have my reputation on the line. I'm going to make sure it's a good product, so I do a lot of reading. I've read like half a dozen books on the subject. I did all my research because, like I said, I wanted to be good. Put together this program, and I didn't realize the audience that I was going to be delivering it to. I anticipated they were high achievers, and I was right, because they were. They were all very experienced high achievers, and they wanted to go from good to great. The feedback I got from the seminar was the best I've ever gotten ever. Like life-changing, things like that, and it was amazing. So this is how intense I am, right? After I did the whole week from the seminars, I said, you know, I should probably do this. I should probably use this information. Maybe it's a 5-step process. I should probably do it. So I decided, you know, because I'm not familiar with setting goals, I would start to do this. So the first opportunity I had to use this process, this 5-step process, was doing a Tough Mudder. Does anybody know what a Tough Mudder is? Look it up on YouTube. A Tough Mudder is a 12.5-mile obstacle course from hell. And it's designed by the Special Forces, and it's got these crazy obstacles. They have this giant dumpster full of ice, and I mean it is full of ice, and you have to go under the ice to get through the doorway, to get back up. You have to run through fire. You have to carry this giant log. It's crazy. It really is. It's insane. And it's just fun. You crawl commando style through water, and you get shocked. That would be real shocks. Shocks in water. How about that? And so the reason I did it was because my stepson is an Iraqi war veteran, and he did one of these Tough Mudders. And it helps the wounded warriors. It really goes to a good cause. And he's showing me the pictures of this, and we're on Long Island, and I said, Kevin, that's awesome that you did that. And he, oh yeah, Dan, you weren't going to leave. Did this, and this, and he's showing me it. And I was really impressed. I was really inspired, right? And I said, Kevin, I'm really proud of you that you did that. And he goes, there's another one in May 2012. You want to do it with me? And what am I going to say? No, I'm too old and I'm a wimp. I can't do that, right? I go, yeah, that would be awesome. So I used this process. I went back and I started to use the goal setting again, and I broke it down. What do I have to do by monthly, by weekly, daily? What are the things I have to do? And I ran the 12K. I ran 12.5 miles and did the mudder. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. I'm going to be frank with you. I laid on the couch for 3 days after that. Could not 3 days. I'm not making this up. I couldn't move for 3 days. And it's funny because at the end of the race, you get a headband because you completed the race that nobody can buy. You can only get it by completing the race. You get a shirt and you get an ice cold beer. I've tasted many beers. This was the best beer I've ever had in my life. Ever. It was awesome. And then Kevin's congratulating me. He goes, Dan, I'm really impressed that you did that. You know, there's another mudder coming in. Really? Yeah, want to run it? Yeah, that would be great. And so we're running on October 20th. We're doing another mudder. So this is how dense I am too, right? It's like, you know, I can apply this in other areas of my life, you know? So as some of you know, Dee and I have a program. It's called Career Navigator. It helps professional level job seekers find work, and it's been wildly successful. Okay, we're up and running in Buffalo. We started in Rochester 3.5 years ago. We're running in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, Poughkeepsie, New York, Geneva. We're actually working with the veterans now, helping people find work. And we've been talking about for a year about writing a book. We have a workbook that goes with the program, but we've been talking about writing a book based on our experiences for the last 3.5 years. Personal stories that can inspire people that don't have access to the program. We gotta read that book. You know, we really gotta write that book. You know, we really should write that book. Oh, we gotta get that book right. That's what it's been for the last year. So I started to apply this process to the program, and we actually got words on paper now. Yay! But it's really helped me focus because I'm an airhead. All right, so I just get scatterbrained sometimes because I get so many things I want to do, and I have a hard time focusing. And this has allowed me to, setting goals has allowed me to stay focused and get things done. I think we've got 30,000 words on paper. We've got tons of stories written down now, and we will have this book written by the end of the year. But it's only because I've learned to set goals. And you know the funny thing is a lot of times is it's not even knowing what you want and setting goals, it's figure out what you want in the first place. The people we work with at Career Navigator are professionals, and they've been doing their jobs for a long time, and their jobs don't exist many times anymore. And so we ask them, what do you want to do now? Because we have to learn their transferable skills, and where do you want to take this? And here's 95% of the time, the answers we get are, I don't know what I want to do. So we help them. We help them learn, we can teach them, okay, let's think this through, let's figure out what you want to do. And so the part of the 5-step process that I do as far as goal setting is you have to sit down and write 5 5-year goals. So that's what I did. And you know, it's not easy to do. It really isn't. And it doesn't matter what age you're, but sit down and actually put them in writing. So I did. I wrote down a 5-year goal on my health, my physical health. I wrote a 5-year goal down for my relationships, a 5-year goal down for my finances, for my career. And along with that, you write down a paragraph of exactly how it's going to feel once you achieve those goals. And you have to write the goals in the present tense. Like if you wanted to make 6 figures, you say, I currently make 6 figures. Whatever your goal is. But it really made me focus and made me think about what I wanted to do. And you know what I found out through all my research? Most people will never do this. I mean, really think about it. Now just ask yourself, have you ever done it? Have you ever sat down and written and really thought out and clearly put down in words exactly what you want in 5 years? And if you say no, you're in good company because most people, from my research, will never do this. And again, just because that purple house, just because everything, just getting it out there, the power of intent is huge. Here's a great, I'm going to give you guys a great resource to read, and I've read a bunch of books on this, but probably the best book I've read on this is from Brian Tracy, and this book is called Goals, and I would highly recommend it. But in that book, he talks about not setting goals. It's kind of like having a high-powered car in a fog that you can't see anything, so you're just kind of inching along with this high-powered vehicle, and you don't even know which direction you're going. By setting goals, it's lifting the fog. And now you can take that high-powered vehicle, which we all possess, and get to anywhere you want very, very quickly. Why don't people set goals? There's a lot of reasons people don't set goals. Number one, ignorance. I didn't know. Nobody taught me this. I was never set aside and said, Dan, here's what you need to do. So ignorance was part of my, even once I was aware of the idea of setting goals, people don't do it because they're afraid. And fear is a huge part of this. They're afraid of just failure, which is crazy. They're afraid of, you know, if they don't do it and everybody knows they said we're going to do it, that they feel like they somehow let people down. It's crazy. Let's talk about fear for a second. I'm going to tell you guys a cool story. My wife, Edie, is a speaker, and she's been doing it for 8 years now. And for first 3-4 years she was doing it, I was working a different job. She would come home and she would say, Dan, you should really think about doing this. You know, you meet a lot of people, you're friendly, you're outgoing, you should do this. And my first thought was always, who would listen to me? Why would I do that? You know, I'm nothing. Who would care about anything I have to say about anything? It was always that first pushback, fear, fear, fear. Eventually she stopped bugging me about it, which was fine with me. And so, my daughter Danielle, I have 2 daughters. When Danielle went off to college, Danielle and I used to play music together. We used to go to the open mic night at the Granary down in Naples, and we used to perform. We used to write our own songs, we would perform, I played guitar, she sang, it was awesome, and we did it a lot. When she went off to college, I missed my buddy. My buddy was gone, and I was sad. And I was at my nephew's basketball game, and my 9-year-old niece, Summer, was there. And just off the top of my head, I just blurted out. And she had been to these open mic nights, so Summer, you want to do an open mic night? My dad is just kind of, we'll write our own songs and we'll perform. It'd be awesome, right? Without a second of hesitation. Instantly. Yes, yes, let's do it. Without a second of hesitation. There wasn't, oh, that's kind of scary, or I've never done that before, or geez, I don't know, that's performing in front of people. It wasn't a second, it was just instantly, yes. That made such a profound impact on me. It really did. That's how we should all live. Fearless. That's something new and different. Yes, let's do it. Absolutely, let's try it. So it got me thinking about what Dee Dee was talking to me about with speaking. It's kind of like, so I put together a program. I rented a room at FLCC, got 50 people in a room, and we filmed it, put it into a 20-minute presentation, sent it to national seminars, and they loved it. They flew me out to Kansas City. I had to do a 10-minute presentation in front of all the principals of the company. It was funny because I had practiced it so much. My first 2 minutes was a auctioneer-style screed of a real bad day I had, which is pertinent to the story, which is funny now. It wasn't funny at the time, but it was funny now. And they loved it. And about 2 weeks later, I get a card from the vice president, Sharon Yoder, saying, in 30 years of working with speakers, I have never heard such a funny and unique opening. Welcome to the team. Now, my wife's a speaker, so I said, do you have one of these? No, you don't have one of these. But then she takes her best-selling audio program. She goes, hey, do you have one of these? No, you don't have one. But I think that's the idea between goal setting is live fearlessly. And so when we set goals, we need to set goals with no limits. Like anything can happen, because I really believe this now, and it's just been recently for me. If you're younger listening to this, seriously, set goals. Write them down. Visit them every single day. And anything, you can achieve anything you want. And I know this now. You can't have everything you want, but you can set anything you mind to anything you want, and it can happen. Earl Nightingale wrote once time, happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy idea or goal. And I really believe that's true. I think that's the secret, is if you find what you want to do, set the goals, write them down. Because I was never taught this, I'm going to teach this to my grandchildren. I didn't teach it to my kids. I didn't know. But my grandkids are going to know every part of this. We have 6 grandchildren. They're exploding. We're breeders. They're coming out everywhere. They really are. Right? We had nothing 3 years ago. We have 6 now. My daughter Rachel has a daughter Rosiah is my granddaughter. She's 3. But let's pretend Rosiah is 8 years old. Rosiah is walking through the store with her mom. And Rosiah says, Mom, I want that red bicycle. And Rachel, my daughter, says, Rosiah, you're not getting a stupid bicycle, let's go, which I could totally see happening. It's exactly how my daughter would react. She says, you're not getting it, let's go. But what would be worse is if my daughter said, Rosiah, you want that bicycle? Let me buy it for you right now. That would be worse. But what if my daughter said to her daughter, Rosiah, you want that bicycle? There's a process in place that allows you to acquire anything you want. All you have to do is follow this step-by-step process, and you can have anything you want. And then she sits down with Rosiah as she goes through this process. Okay, Rosiah, when do you want this? Okay, we'll set aside 2 months. Okay, Rosiah, let's take a picture and put it on your dresser so you can see it every single day. What are we going to do over the next 2 months to make sure this happens? Weekly, daily, what are we going to do? And I'm going to journal every single day. We're going to start at the beginning of the day, we're going to talk about your goals. And at the end of the day, we're going to see if you acquired, did what you were supposed to do that day. And then we're also going to set new goals for the next day. And at the end, every day she did that. And at the end of 2 months, little Rosiah at 8 years old hands the money over and buys her own bicycle. What would that mean? What kind of gift would that be to a young child? You've changed her life. You've just showed her that you can acquire anything. And she's done it. She understands it now. She knows it. This is why I'm going to teach my kids this, and great kids this. So that for the rest of her life, she will never, ever, ever again say, I can't. For the rest of her life, she'll be able to say very confidently, I have a plan and a process, and I can.
Will you join me now in singing hymn number 118 out of the Black Book? And stand as you're able.
Join us for worship service every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua, a welcoming congregation. The church is located at 3024 Cooley Road, 4 miles west of Main Street, Canandaigua, just north of the intersection with Routes 5 and 20. Call for information or directions 585-396-1370. Your comments about this program or questions about the church are welcome at 585-396-1370. To view the latest issue of our newsletter, The Chalice, look at our website, www.uucc.us. Producer and editor, Daniel Brigham.